What is going on, college basketball fans? Today we got our updated Dannyology Power 35 rankings for Week 15 of college basketball. As always, we are dropping these every single Monday, and we have daily college basketball content here on the channel as well. Tomorrow we're going to have our updated full March Madness bracket predictions out, and we're going to have our bracketology out on Wednesday. So a lot of good stuff coming. Make sure you guys subscribe, and without further ado, let's get started. All right, Week 15 power rankings. This has been an amazing season so far. Once again, we've had a ton of upsets since last week, and it's just been amazing. I can't wait till March, but our new number one team this week, we do have the Alabama Crimson Tide, and I was debating whether or not I should have Alabama or Houston as the number one team, but I decided to go with Alabama. They are undefeated in the SEC, which is crazy. They have the head-to-head victory over Houston. They're playing amazing right now. Maybe eye test, you could argue Houston looks like the better team right now, but both these teams look like top teams in the country, look like national championship contenders. I have Alabama here at number one. At number two, I do have Houston. You watch them play, they look amazing. They already redeemed their other loss. They have two losses on the year, one to Alabama, their other one to Temple. They redeemed that with a good win on the road at Temple, and they've just been playing amazing lately. Houston coming in here at number two. At number three, we do have Purdue, and another tough week for Purdue. That's back-to-back weeks now where they have taken a loss. Last week it was to Indiana on the road. This week it was to Northwestern on the road, and a good Northwestern team, but that is a game Purdue has to find a way to win, and Purdue is starting to look a lot more beatable. They're down here at number three this week. At number four, we do have UCLA. They had a really good 2-0 win week this week here, and a good win over Oregon. That was an Oregon team that was getting hot, starting to try to sneak their way into, maybe one of those last four in spots in the tournament, and UCLA kind of shut them down on that. Very good win there. UCLA is playing really good as of late, ever since those two losses there to Arizona and to USC. UCLA has been playing super good there in the league. At number five, I do have the Kansas Jayhawks jumping up all the way to number five. They had a 2-0 week this week in the Big 12, including a really crucial win over Texas. That was a very good win. Kansas is up here at number five this week, and my top Big 12 team this week. It seems like I have a new top-ranked Big 12 team every single week. Best league in the country by far, and you'll see I have a lot of Big 12 teams ranked here. I think I have 6 ranked, 1 in my teams to watch. So the Big 12 runs deep, guys, and look out for any Big 12 team that makes it to March to get at least a win or two. At number 6, we do have the Virginia Cavaliers. And Virginia, they did lose, last week there to Virginia Tech, but they bounced back with a very impressive 2-0 week with wins over Duke and NC State, two teams that I do have here in my Power 35. So two very good wins. Virginia back up here at number 6. At number 7, we do have Texas, and Texas, they did take a loss this week here to Kansas, but then they bounced back off of that with a 30-point win over West Virginia. West Virginia team that just beat Iowa State was starting to get a little bit of momentum, and Texas just completely shut that down. So they're, I think, down 1 or 2 spots here, but they're still up in my top 10 here at number 7. At number 8, we do have the Baylor Bears, a team that did lose to Texas recently and lost to Virginia on neutral site court early in the year, so that makes sense to have them right there at number 8. At number 9, we do have Arizona, or I should mention here real quick, Baylor. They've been on a tear lately. Another 2-0 week for them this week. I think that they have won 8 of their last 9 games now. Their only loss in that span coming to Texas, and that includes wins over teams like Kansas. Very impressive. Baylor is on a tear right now. One of the hottest teams in the country, in my opinion. They are up at 8. I think they were at 8 last week as well. At number 9, we do have Arizona. Tough loss this week again, and every single one of Arizona's losses have come to teams that are not in my Power 35, and probably not even in my top 50, which is crazy because this Arizona team is so good and they beat teams like Indiana, like Tennessee, but even UCLA. But when they go up against these teams like Utah, Oregon, Washington State, and now Stanford, that's all of their losses right there. So not a good look there. Are they prone to getting upset in March Madness? Maybe. But we'll see. They're still up here at number 9. They dropped, I think 5 spots. I think I had them at number 4 last week. At number 10, up at 10, look at Indiana, man. Indiana up at 10. They were at 15 last week, another 2-0 week. And this is a team that has injuries, and has been playing through them and got a 2-0 week against a very good Rutgers team at home and went to Michigan on the road, a Michigan team that was starting to build a little bit of momentum, starting to try to creep into the bubble there, and to beat them on the road, still with no Xavier Johnson. Jalen Hood-Schifino was in foul trouble in that game. I think Grace Thompson wasn't playing in that game. So huge victory there for Indiana. They're up at number 10. For me, makes sense. They lost to Arizona this year on a neutral site court, come in right behind them. At number 11, I do have Marquette, and I know Marquette did beat Baylor this year, but head-to-head is not everything. Marquette was the home team in that game, and the way that Baylor has been playing recently, I could not find a way to put Marquette ahead of Baylor. Baylor has been playing too good. Win streaks are a big factor for me and how I rank these teams, because if you are hot building up a win streak, you are going to get the recognition you deserve in my rankings. And Marquette took a really bad loss there to UConn, and similar fashion, Marquette did beat Baylor by, almost 30 points, while UConn beat Marquette by almost 30 points, and UConn isn't ranked ahead of Marquette, so that kind of balanced itself out right there. But I do still have Marquette here at number 11, even after that loss. They got a bounce back win after that over Georgetown. We'll see if they can continue to build off of that and look like the team that they were before that UConn game, and start to build more of a win streak there in the Big East. At number 12, probably, the team that had the worst week out of anyone in college basketball this week. Very unlucky, but also they should not have been in these situations in the first place. Tennessee, 0-2 week against Vanderbilt and Missouri, both coming from a buzzer beater. Lost 2 games to a buzzer beater in the same week to teams that Tennessee definitely should have beaten, and they would have dropped a lot more. I think they were top 5 for me last week, and they only dropped to 12 after losing those 2 games, but since they did both come to buzzer beaters, I did keep them up here a little bit, and they still have good wins, over teams like Kansas and Texas. Like, Tennessee has really, really good wins this season, and those did come to buzzer beater fashion, and both happened because Tennessee could not make free throws towards the end of the game. So that's a little bit worrisome, but I do still have them up here at number 12. At number 13, I do have the Creighton Blue Jays jumping up, I think, 12 or so spots this week, another 2-0 week, and like I mentioned before with Baylor, huge win streaks will get you up in my rankings really, really quick, especially when you had a non-con like Creighton did early on in this season. Creighton looking very good right now, looking like the team that they were at the beginning of the year, and they defeated this week a really good Seton Hall team on the road, and then returned to Omaha and defeated UConn, a very hot UConn team that was coming off of a big victory over Marquette. So Creighton, very impressive week this week. They're up at 13. Behind Marquette because they did lose to Marquette this year, but they're going to have a chance to redeem that win here, I think, this week. So another big week for Creighton. If they have another 2-0 week, they will definitely I have a feeling, slip their way into the top 10 next week. At number 14, we do have Kansas State. Kansas State, not the best of weeks this week. It seems like Kansas State is starting to cool off a little bit, and that's a little bit worrisome. They lost to Texas Tech this week. But they did beat TCU, but that's a TCU team with no Mike Miles. Still a very solid team, but it looks like they're starting to cool off a little bit. I have them here at number 14, around the same spot they were last week after a 1-1 week. At number 15, we do have St. Mary's. They did take their first loss in conference play this week to Loyola Marymount, but they are still up ahead of Gonzaga since they did win that game, and Gonzaga did also lose to Loyola Marymount this year because that LMU team is actually a very, very solid team. St. Mary's still here at 15, just down a couple of spots. Same thing with Gonzaga. They had a really good week, but they moved down with St. Mary's, stay right behind them since they did lose that head-to-head. At number 17, how about NC State? NC State's been playing really good basketball lately. They did take a loss last week to Virginia on the road, but that is a tough environment. NC State is winning the games they are supposed to, and they do have the head-to-head over my number 18 team, Miami. Miami is a team that I think can, climb these rankings. I mentioned before, win streaks can get you up fast in my rankings. I think they're on a 3 or 4 game right now. Another 2-0 week, they are going to jump up a lot because they have a really talented team, a really good team. They just need to stay consistent, and they will skyrocket up these ranks. At number 19, maybe not as bad as of a week as Tennessee, but, it's up there. 0-2 week, lost on the road at West Virginia. Tough place to play. You bounce back off that, but they couldn't do that. They returned to Ames and lose to Oklahoma State. Tough one there. Tough loss, especially an Iowa State team that I think that might be their first loss at home in Ames this season, so a very tough one. I could definitely see arguments for maybe Iowa State dropping even further, but the Big 12 is tough. We'll see how they bounce back from this, and we'll give them a little bit of a chance before they drop too much in my rankings. At number 20, right behind them, another Big 12 team that went 0-2 so far this week, and a team that lost to a buzzer beater to my number 19 team. So, staying consistent with that kind of makes sense. We do have TCU. Yes, they did go 0-2 this week, but they don't have their star shooting guard, Mike Miles, one of the best players in the country, and they did, play Baylor very, very close still without him, and that is a very, very solid Baylor team. So I still think TCU is very solid. They're still up here at number 20, and once they get Mike Miles back, look out for TCU. At number 21, we do have Xavier. Xavier has, starting to lose a few games they shouldn't. Another tough loss to Baylor this week, or to Butler, this week. But Xavier still at 21 in the top 25. Right behind them, we do have Providence, a team that did lose to Xavier in a very close game, so that kind of makes sense there. At number 23, we do have UConn. UConn, they had a really good win this week over Marquette. Then they go on the road to Creighton and lose that one in a very close one. UConn, they're so inconsistent. Andre Jackson, Jordan Hawkins, I feel like when they're on, UConn has national championship level potential, but when they're off, they look bad, man. They look bad, and UConn, they're around the same spot they were last week after a 1-1 week in the top 25, still here at 23. At number 24, we do have the Nevada Wolfpack in Nevada. In the top 25, they have been playing amazing lately, sweeping New Mexico on the year, beating San Diego State on a nice little 4 or 5 game win streak, I'm pretty sure. Look out for the Wolfpack in March. They are looking very, very good. And Lastly, in our top 25, we do have FAU. I know they did take the loss last week, I think, to UAB, but they bounced back from that wonderfully. They still only have 2 losses on the year, and FAU is still one of the top mid-majors in the country here at 25. At number 26, we do have San Diego State. They split the season series with Nevada 1-1 this year. San Diego State still a very solid team, and they are up here at 26. At number 27, we do have Northwestern. Really good week for Northwestern. Maybe the best week out of anyone in the country. Defeating Purdue, the number 1 team in the country still. And having a 2-0 week on top of that. Northwestern not only cracks their spot into my top 35 this week, but is all the way up here at 27. At number 28, we do have Oklahoma State, and right there with Northwestern, had one of the best weeks out of anyone in college basketball. 2-0 week with wins over Iowa State on the road. That is a really good win. Oklahoma State securing their spot in the tournament field right now. They are all the way up here at 28. At number 29, we do have Texas A&M. Texas A&M, they looked like a lost cause, start of the year, but now they are 10-2 in SEC play, absolutely killing it. And to me, they are well in the field and are a top 30 team right now, starting to get on a little bit of a win streak as well. Like I said, 10-2 in the conference, very impressive. The Aggies up at 29. At number 30, we do have Missouri, and Missouri, a team that's, starting to get hot. They hit a buzzer beater to defeat Tennessee this week, had a 2-0 week. They're up at 30. At number 31, 3 SEC teams here in a row. We do have Arkansas, 1-1 week with a win over Kentucky this week. Arkansas just, needs to stay consistent, man. Needs to stay consistent, and they have a lot of potential. I heard rumors about maybe Nick Smith returning soon. Let me know if he is coming back soon, because that could be a huge factor for this Razorbacks team. At number 32, we do have Michigan State. Michigan State, another team like Arkansas, just super inconsistent, but they have really good wins this season and have shown a lot of potential to maybe make a deep run into the tournament. As far as like 7, 8, 9 seeds in the NCAA tournament, Arkansas, Michigan State, definitely teams I would look out for making a deep run from those seeds. At number 33, we do have Maryland, and Maryland is actually down a little bit. They did lose to Michigan State on the road, but before that, they were starting to get super hot, so they're still in the Power 35. At number 34, we do have the Duke Blue Devils, and Duke, they did lose again this week, or they did have a 0-2 week this week, but to really good teams, man, really good teams, and Virginia on the road in overtime, that was a tough one, late call at the buzzer, wasn't called. Was it a foul? I think it was. I think Duke should have had 2 free throws to win the game at the end of that one. I still think Duke, a top 35 team right now, they're in at 34. At number 35, we do have Memphis. They're starting to get a little bit of a win streak. I think 3-game win streak now for Memphis. Starting to look really good again. They're back in the Power 35. So, teams to watch that just missed the cut this week that could get in next week. I have these teams listed, and I actually forgot some. We have Rutgers. Rutgers had an 0-2 week this week, so they dropped out of their rankings, but they are a super good team, one of the best defensive teams in the country. They are just another team like Michigan State that just can't really stay consistent there in the Big Ten. Southern Miss. How about Southern Miss, man? They've been playing amazing basketball lately, and I hate to say this as a Marshall fan, but it looks like they might win their league. Marshall did beat them earlier in the season. That was in Huntington, though. Good environment there. We'll see how they match up, hopefully in the championship of the Sun Belt this year. Next up, we do have Oral Roberts. I had to give a shout out to Oral Roberts, man. They're looking like one of the best mid-majors in the country right now. Absolutely killing it. New Mexico as well. They had a really bad week this week, so they fell out of the rankings, but still keep an eye out on the Lobos. West Virginia, They got another really good win over Iowa State this week, but then they follow it up by losing by 30 on the road at Texas, so that wasn't good. You would have liked to see them keep it a little bit close, but we'll see how they bounce back from that one. Then we got Illinois and Iowa, two other Big Ten teams that just barely missed the cut here for me. There are a few more that were actually very close, but let me know what you guys think about my Power 35 rankings down below in the comment section. What do you like? What do you dislike? What would you change? I want to hear all of your guys' opinions down below. We're getting super close to March Madness. Like I said at the beginning of the video, tomorrow we are going to have our full March Madness bracket predictions from the round of 64 all the way to the championship game. And on Wednesday, I'm going to have my own personal bracketology out here on the channel. You guys have been asking for that. I'm excited to make it and post it here on the channel. So a lot of good stuff coming up this week. Make sure you guys subscribe if you guys are new and drop a like if you guys enjoyed. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching.